Mr. Whitney, we don't have a statement from Jody Travis yet because we have not interrogated her.
What?
Obviously, she was in no condition last night to give us a coherent story.
Well, just when do you expect to get a coherent story from her? Next month? You've got her in custody, I hope, at least.
As a matter of fact, we don't. She's been remanded to her sister's custody.
Oh, I see. Her sister. Oh, I see. Oh, that's great. You haven't questioned her. She's in her sister's custody, and meanwhile, Gavin Wiley is roaming around free.
Look, we questioned her about that. She said she didn't know anything about it.
And you just believed her? Well, I imagine I shouldn't have expected very much more from your dim-witted department. I imagine that you think that this is some kind of compassionate behavior on your part, but as far as I am concerned, it's nothing more than stupidity.
I told you, they're all a bunch of dopes over there, from Miles Cavanaugh to Derek Mallory to Damian, well, maybe not Damian, to the DA. I know all they're gonna do is slap her dainty little wrists and let her go.
Oh, I'm not concerned about Jody. It's Gavin Wiley. He's got to be made to pay for his murder of Gunther. Meanwhile, the police are just sitting on their hands.
Relax, darling. Hello.
Hello, may I speak to Mrs. Whitney?
No, this is Mrs. Whitney.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Whitney. This is Valerie Bryson.
Oh, hello, Miss Bryson. What can I do for you?
Well, I was wondering if I might come by this morning. I have the proofs of the portrait sitting that Carlo did of you before he left town.
You have the proofs. I would love to see them. Please, could you come over whenever you can?
You've looked better in your time.
I have felt better in my time.
Oh, you just missed a call from the great man himself, Mr. Schuyler Whitney. And a bitter man at that. He's complaining because we don't have a statement from Jody Travis yet. He says it's a matter of compassion. We're letting the crooks go. And that's the same complaint you have against Dee Dee Bannister.
Yeah, well, I guess I can't complain about it anymore since I now find myself suffering from the same weakness.
What are you talking about?
I saw Gavin Wiley last night. Tyler, I let him go.
You mean you actually saw Gavin Wiley and you didn't take him in?
Those are the facts.
Well, did you at least try to talk him into giving himself up?
Damian, of course I tried to talk him into giving himself up. I guess I wasn't very convincing. Finally just let him walk away. Now I'm doing something even dumber. I'm telling a cop about it.
Well, what did he tell you?
He said that Jody Travis might be able to shed some light on how Gunther Wagner died.
Doesn't make any sense. We already know how Gunther died.
Well, he thinks that we don't know enough. He didn't give me any details. For one thing, Star was there.
Did you see him?
No, she'd gone off to the bedroom to sleep. Anyhow, I told him she was there, and he took off like a shot.
Just like that, with your blessing.
And my money.
Oh, I didn't quite catch that.
I said, Tyler, that I gave him a little money.
What? You mean you not only let him escape, you financed him?
I know. I'm a dope. Look, the man is my friend.
Calvin, if he was your friend, you...
Right? If he's my friend, I should have talked him into giving himself up. It would have been the best thing for him to do, et cetera, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, that's not what I did. Look, if you have to go see the chief and tell him that I've been aiding and abetting criminals, I just want you
There's
to know...
only one thing that I want to do right now, and that's talk to Jody Travis. I want to know if what she has to say about Gunther's death is anything different than what we already know. You going with me?
No, I promised Star I'd meet her for lunch.
Well, why don't you try to catch up with me later?
Yeah, okay. Look, Damian, are you gonna have to tell the chief about what I told you?
Calvin, you know there's no way I'm going to do that. I think that's why you told me in the first place. I think you're starting to read my mind, Calvin. I'm not sure if I like that. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Well,
Damn
still asleep, thank heaven. She was absolutely paralyzed with exhaustion.
She really looked exhausted when they brought her home last night. Poor little kid has been through such an awful time. Things like that can really leave scars sometimes.
I know. How's it going, Nora?
Moving along. Would you check this memo, please, Mrs. Kavanaugh?
Well, all right, but that's it, because I'm much too distracted to deal with anything that demands concentration right now.
Will you be going to the studio at all today?
No, I don't think so. I want to be here when Jody wakes up. She may need me, and I don't want to leave her, at least not until Miles gets home, and he can't be here until late this afternoon.
Now that she's home, I'm a little surprised that he won't be here until then. He seemed so concerned about her when she was gone.
Oh, well, he is. It's just that, unfortunately, there's only one Miles Kavanaugh, and he has a lot of obligations to his patients, too.
Oh, yes. I can see that he feels very deeply about them.
Yes, he does.
Such responsibility. Take that new case, for instance, that young actress that I heard him talk about. His latest, I believe. Latest patient.
Yes, he's very concerned about her.
Oh, I can see that. He's terribly worried about her.
And this will be fine.
You wanted to check this file.
Perhaps later, Nora. My mind is a little more settled about Jody. Right now, I'm so tired, I just can't make head or tail of anything.
You know, it seems to me you could use a rest yourself, Mrs. C. Why don't you go in and have a little layback?
Layback? Where on earth did you get that expression?
I don't know. I think it's from Agatha Christie. But anyway, the point is, the police are going to be coming around sometime today, and maybe you could get in a little nap before, they start bombarding the house with a lot of questions.
I think that's a very good idea. I think I will go have a little layback.
Good. Well, Nora, you've got your needles out today.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure you do. What's the idea of needling Mrs. Kavanaugh, making insinuations about her husband's latest patient, the young actress, all that?
Insinuations? I'm sorry, Mrs. Goodman. I can't believe that you thought I was making insinuations about anything.
Baloney. You don't fool me for a nickel's worth, young lady. Your remarks were loaded with what I don't know, but with something.
I can assure you my intentions were perfectly harmless.
As the cat said to the mouse. Listen, Miss Fulton, you take my advice and you just keep your mind on the typewriter. Mrs. Kavanaugh has quite enough to worry about.
She hasn't nearly enough to worry about. Nor does her husband.
Sorry I disappointed you, Mr. Whitney. The only way I could have stopped him was by shooting him, and in my opinion, killing or even wounding him was unwarranted.
Oh, I see. You just reached that conclusion on your own, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't
Congratulations, Spencer. With your last employer, 2 men died at your hand.
I had no choice in that case. It was a life-and-death situation. Those 2 men were hired assassins, hitmen who attacked my employer. They were armed and dangerous. If you'll pardon me, Mr. Whitney, that was not the case last night. Mr. Wiley was unarmed.
Skylar, I think you're being ridiculous. Look, you know as well as I do that Geraldine was more responsible than Spencer was. She's the one that stopped him from shooting the gun.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
It's very kind of you to try making excuses for me, Mrs. Whitney, but I fully accept any blame. Mr. Whitney, if you would like, you have my notice.
No, I don't want you to leave, Spencer. I just want you to do the job you're being paid for. There's the doorbell. Why don't you answer that? See if you can do that right.
Yes, sir.
Well, the man hasn't been doing his job.
Yes.
Hi, I believe Mrs. Whitney's expecting me.
Please, come in.
Well, hello, Miss Bryson.
Mr. Whitney?
Won't you have a seat?
Thank you.
Oh, that'll be all, Spencer.
Well, I have the proofs. The portraits are very nice. I hope you like them as much as I do.
Oh. These are beautiful.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
And they really are great. Let's keep them and take a look at them.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so glad you're pleased.
You know, there's nothing like talent. I'm really going to miss Carlo Crown's studio.
Well, the studio will still be functioning, Mrs. Whitney. Even without Carlo, I'm keeping it open.
You're kidding. Isn't that a little risky? I mean, don't you think you should just look for work with another professional?
Well, Perhaps the work won't be of such high caliber as Carlo's, but I'm going to try to make a name for myself in photography.
Change the name of the studio?
No, I don't think that.
Well, I don't know. It might do you some good, especially after all the notoriety you got with the newspaper stories and all about your father's money, I mean.
Yes, well, those stories are very exaggerated, I'm afraid. More fantasy than anything else.
What about these stories of your romantic phantom lover? Are those fantasy, too?
Well...
Raven, I'm sure that Miss Bryson has got better things to do than to make idle conversation. She is in business now, isn't that right, Miss Bryson?
Yes, I really have to go.
No, I really want to know. Please, be honest with me. You didn't really have a relationship with Jim Diedrichson, did you?
Raven.
Wasn't it all just that he was bored and he was looking for a little diversion? Any diversion?
Oh, forgive me, I have a lunch date in half an hour. I really have to be going.
Now, wait a minute. The way I heard it was that there was nothing between the two of you except a bunch of bandages.
There must have been something, Mrs. Whitney, because, Jim Diedrichson proposed to me.
Is that true? Tell me the truth, Skylar. Is that true, or is she just lying?
Of course it's not true. Poor girl is living in her own fantasy world. She said it herself.
That there's a tremendous amount of work in the concept and format, but I really think it can be squeezed into a half-hour period of time. Now, I think we both agreed that that clown character had been done to death, but I created this guy, and he's young, and plays guitar and everything. I think it's something that children will really be able to grab hold of, don't you? Mm-hmm. Now, we got the characters out of the way. Let's talk about the production of it. Now, I figured that we could use Studio A for all of the live performances, and we can use Studio B for all of the editing and animation. You like it? You don't like it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. Of course I do. It's fine. It's really just fine. I'm sorry, but my thoughts seem to be elsewhere this morning. I can't seem to shake the events at the house last night. It was a bad time for all of us, but most especially for Gavin Wiley and Jody Travis.
Yeah, I heard. Well, at least Jody's safe and sound at home now, even though Gavin's still on the run.
I wish I knew why Skylar was so vindictive about that young man. Undoubtedly, it has to do with Gunther Wagner's death. Although I must admit, Skylar never gave me the impression that he felt very kindly towards Gunther.
Well, all I know is that Sky felt very strongly about Gavin's influence over Jody.
Maybe that's it. Now, would you like to show me the presentation again? This time, I promise to pay attention.
Well, maybe it'd be better to go over it this afternoon when both of us are more into it. You know, besides, it's lunchtime and I have a date.
Oh, so it is. Yes, I do too, for that matter. Come in.
Hello, Geraldine.
Nancy. Oh, hi, Nancy.
Hey, hi.
I didn't know you were going to be here.
Well, now that I am, would you like to join us for lunch?
Gee, I'd really love to, but I'm meeting Val in about 20 minutes. So, have a nice lunch.
Bye-bye, Gally. Sit down, my dear.
Thank you.
I suppose it's just as well that we'll be alone. You see, I have some business ideas to present to you.
Aha. I had a suspicion that you had something more on your mind than a cheese omelet, Mrs. Saxon. Does it have to do with Nicole?
Yes, it does, actually. You see, Nicole has been very pressured these days with the added duties as head of the news department. She won't be giving up newscasting entirely, but she will be on the air less frequently than before. Now, you were such an enormous help to us here recently during her illness.
Well, I was really very glad to do it. It was a wonderful experience for me.
I was hoping you'd say that. Now, I am not suggesting any full-time schedule. I know how you love that job of yours on the newspaper.
Yes, and I don't want to give it up.
I know that, too. No, what I'm suggesting is special news features for you. Investigative reporting, special events, commentary, anything you feel that you would like to do.
Geraldine, you have made an offer no self-respecting reporter can turn down.
Place is charming. Why is it you've never brought me here before?
Oh, because, my lovely, they did not open until you had left town.
Oh, I'll accept that.
All right, sis.
Calvin? How come it is you always get the pretty one?
Sheer luck. And to show you just how lucky I am, this is my wife. Star, this is Sid Brennan. She manages this emporium.
Ah, how do you do, Sid? How do you do, Mrs. Stoner? I really shouldn't say this in front of him because his head is big enough already, and he's spoiled, but Calvin is my favorite cop, as cops go.
Well, I hope my wife agrees with those sentiments as sentiments go.
Well, I married you, didn't I? Can I take your order? Oh, let's see. We'll have 2 Dider's Delights and 2 black coffees.
I never argue with this lady.
Coming up.
Thanks. Well, hello, Valerie.
Hi, Calvin.
How are you? I'm fine. Do you remember Star?
Oh, yes, from the wedding.
Hi, how are
Nice to
you?
see you again. Enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, thanks.
Do I know her?
It's Val Bryce, and she took the pictures at the Whitney wedding.
That's right. Well, you seem to have met a lot of new people since I've been away.
As I'm sure you have, too, with all your ardent fans. Although I'm glad to hear that you've had enough of that. It's going to be all home and hearth for us from now on.
Well, not quite yet, dear.
Come on. Isn't that what you told me last night?
Yes, but, Calvin, isn't it always better to say things straight out?
Always.
Well, then here goes. I got a call from my agent this morning, and he says I have an audition coming up for a leading role in a new Broadway musical.
That's wonderful.
Really? Well, if I get it, I'll have to live in New York City for the run of the play.
Star, that's not so wonderful. Listen, let's not even worry about that until after the audition, okay?
Oh, that's why I love you, Kelvin Stoner.
I guess I'm just a compassionate type.
Oh. Hi, Sid. Hi, Dee Dee.
Dee Dee. Miss, Dee Dee Bannister, Mrs. Star Stoner.
How do you do?
This electronic...
I'm sure I can. Well, Mrs. Stoner. Star. It was nice meeting you at last. Likewise, Dee Dee. Bye.
Bye.
How about it, Valerie? You want to order something while you're waiting for Kelly?
No, I think I'll just wait for Kelly.
Okay. But when you are ready to order, you just tell him that the special today is pot roast.
Okay.
There's that guy.
Okay, this is it.
Would you kindly put down that newspaper and look me in the eye? My name is Valerie Bryson, a fact you already know, and now I want some facts. Why have you been following me? I know you've been following me for days, so don't try to deny it.
All right. So I won't.
Well, so why? What is this all about?
Simple enough. I've been trying to make up my mind whether you want me in your life or not.
How could you presume such a thing?
I'm Jim, Val.